Welcome to GyrlSense. I am Maria Del-Carmen, your host. Today's special guest is from Capital Region Education Council, or simply known as CREC. Renita Ezell is the Outreach and Enrollment Coordinator for the CREC Open Choice Program. Today we will be going over how to apply for the Open Choice Program. We'll go over the due dates, myths around the lottery, and frequent asked questions. Renita, welcome so much to the GyrlSense family.
It's really nice to be here. Thank
Wonderful.
you for having me.
So I'm a little familiar with the school lottery system. Both my children graduated from Capital Preparatory Magnet School, but I know that's different.
Yes.
And so you are here today to really hone in on the open, specifically on the Hartford Open Choice Program.
Right.
And so I'm actually very excited that you will finally clarify, set it straight, set the record straight, and hopefully the message will get to the viewers who are really looking into and knowing a little bit more about it, if they knew some, or if this is new, to give out the information. So
and I appreciate
you.
the platform. Thank you. That's one of the #1 questions that I get. What is the difference between the magnet schools and the open choice program? So hopefully we can get another few hundred people to get the right information.
Sure.
So I'll try to make it as simple as possible.
Sure.
Let's start with the magnet school. The magnet, like the name sounds or says, draws people from all over the state of Connecticut. So any any Connecticut resident can apply to the RESCO lottery. But open choice is different. You have to be either a Hartford resident to be eligible to apply and attend a suburban regular public non-magnet school.
Okay, so that's the key difference. So magnet, you're pulling in, and then the open choice is from in Hartford out to the suburban areas. Now that I wasn't real. That was just even information for me.
And that's legislated, so we can't change that. But now we also allow suburban families or students that live outside of Hartford to come in and attend designated participating Hartford public schools.
Okay.
So it's almost kind of, if you want to think of it as a public school to public school exchange,
Sure.
but it's Hartford out into Hartford. Magnet schools, also the difference there is that their schools have themes. So their curriculum is centered around particular occupations, whether it's law, whether it's arts. So their curriculum is centered around that. But because our children are attending regular suburban public schools, they're usually just college prep high schools or regular schools that are in the towns where most of these families who are applying to the magnet schools actually live.
Perfect.
So hopefully that clears that up.
Perfect. All right. So, well, first things first, the big question. How do I apply, right? And I did take it upon myself to, right before the program, I went in and I went on to choosecrec.org to see, okay, if I am a prospective parent, how easy is this for me? So then I wanted to kind of create the questions for today. So I went on choosecrec.org, and there it was, 4 simple steps. Now, it was simple for me, so this is where I'm going to take myself and put myself in someone else's shoes. You know, if it weren't simple for me, I wanted to break it down just to kind of make sure that it's understood and so forth, because there could be language barriers, there could be all sorts of other types of barriers. So we're literally going to go step by step. So step 1 is review the school options and attend an information session at the school or at the region school choice office, the region school choice office, which, and I know you said this a few seconds ago, you mentioned RESCO. So, you know, these abbreviations are so we roll off the tongues. Once we are, you know, in our comfort zone under our own workforce. But, you know, for the public, when we say RESCO, that's exactly what it means. It means Region School Choice Office. So from now on, now you know RESCO means Region School Choice Office. Okay, so again, so step one is to review the school options, right?
And that's one of the most important steps because we really wanted to direct families to be as informed as possible. So the Regional School Choice Office, or RESCO Fairs, is an opportunity for families to get into one place and have a representative from every single school and program that's on that application. If you can kind of think of a college fair or a job fair, it's the same setup. So all of those 40-something schools that are on the application, including the Open Choice Program, are there. The next Regional School Choice Office, or RESCO Fair, is going to be Saturday, January 27th from 10 to 1 o'clock at Conard High School in West Hartford. So if parents missed the one that was in November, they definitely want to try to go to that particular fair, especially if they're still confused and haven't been able to really narrow down their choices.
Okay, and just to do just a little proactive information, you know, I'm putting myself again in that parent role. So if I'm told, oh, just go to the fair, you'll find out, I might still not be comfortable with that as a parent, especially again, a parent, no matter what your barrier may be. So just so that I know in my parent hat, I know you mentioned as far as a little bit in eligibility. So how do I know that I'm eligible? Is it just because I'm a Hartford resident? Does that make me eligible?
So when it comes to, I guess, for anyone, for Open Choice in particular, being a Hartford, there's two paths basically. So they're eligible no matter which way you come from, whether you live outside of Hartford or whether you live in Hartford. But where you live will determine what your choices are and what's available to you. So if you're a Hartford resident, you're going to be putting in the information. The first part of the application is the demographics, your child's name, your name as a parent, the phone number, the address. Once you put that in, the computer is going to tell you where you fall. So if for a Hartford resident, when you get to the next step about Open Choice, do you want to apply? When you check yes, it's going to say based on your address, you live in Zone 4. So Hartford, another complication, Hartford is broken into 4, this is just for Hartford residents. So Hartford is divided into 4 zones. We've taken the 28 towns that participate with Open Choice and assigned them to one of those zones, basically to keep transportation shorter for their children. So if a child lives in Zone 1, the address comes up, they're in zip code 06105 or part of 06112, it's going to already predetermine what those districts are. So when they apply to Open Choice, and Open Choice is the first part of the application, and I probably should say this, when they fill out the application, they have 3 options basically. They can apply to Open Choice and a magnet schools, or they can apply to just Open Choice, or they can apply to only the magnet schools. So that's why knowing all the options are important, and we created that website, choosecrec.org, to kind of have one place that they can go to see what all the CREC options are. So when you go into that website, it basically shows those 4 steps that we're going to go over today, but then it asks them, are you a Hartford resident? If they say yes, then it shows what the options are.
Perfect. So so once again, when it says review the school options, it's not as a parent, oh, I heard that X, Y, and Z school is a wonderful school. The only way that I can determine if that's even an option for me is by logging in, putting in the demographics, and to see if that particular school falls into my zone. Okay, perfect.
If I could share this, I said, you know, like I said before, usually we get a lot of phone calls after the lotteries close. So after February 28th, you cannot make changes to your application unless you've moved, and then RESCO has to make those changes for you. So that's why it's important to know what your options are. For Hartford residents, they can select up to 5 suburban districts that are assigned their zone. If they're choosing to do both, then they can still go and select up to 5 magnet schools. So when parents do that, they're kind of increasing their options. But for going back to the open choice, Hartford residents only. You can select up to 5 districts. We do give preferences, and that means we will float certain students up on the wait list. One are those families that are already in the program.
Okay.
And then for students or families who only select open choice, meaning they choose not to select a magnet school.
Okay.
Now we get the majority of our seats from the suburban districts in kindergarten. So for those families that are looking for a kindergarten seat, we would strongly encourage them to consider open choice and to consider the open choice only option.
Right.
Because we have so many seats that we usually run out of applications.
Okay.
So kindergartners are what we're looking for. The districts like to start them young and have them go up. And one of the benefits of open choice is once you apply, if you're applying to pre-K 4, if you get in, as long as you remain a Hartford resident, you can continue until high school graduation.
And do you have to reapply?
You do not have to reapply.
Okay, that's very good to know.
No, they don't.
So now I know that I'm eligible, or that I'm not.
Right.
The date again, the next date for the RESCO fair is?
January 27th.
January 27th. And so now I've decided, okay, I know enough, I want to attend. What happens at the fair?
So when you go to the fair, you're going to get some information. But again, if you've gone to choosecrec.org and looked at the list of schools, maybe clicked on some of the websites, got familiar with open choice, kind of know what everything is, at least you go in a little bit more informed.
Sure.
So when I'm about to learn something on my own, I need to read it because I want to at least know the lingo, understand some of the concepts so that I don't feel totally lost once I get in there. So either going to RESCO's website, which is choiceeducation.org, going to choosecrec.org, going there and familiarizing yourself with the information will help you not to feel so overwhelmed when you get to the fair.
Okay. So the fair is just another venue to learn about the same information that I would get on the website.
Correct.
So it's not that I'm going to the fair to fill out paperwork.
Well,
or is that an
too.
option?
It's an option
okay.
also.
So I could go, if I'm interested, and let's say I'm intimidated by the computer, I can still go to the fair knowing that I will be applying, learning more, and just applying, and I can walk out from the fair and at least the application could be done on that day.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Yeah. And if I do have a language barrier, would there be preparation to help me at the fair?
There are several staff members that are there that are bilingual, so that's not a problem at all.
Perfect.
And the application is also in English or in Spanish.
Okay, perfect. A very sensitive question. So suppose the undocumented, would that be a factor in it? Would I be questioned? Does my children, are they eligible?
Right. So it's a blind lottery, so nothing is taken into consideration before registering for a school.
Okay.
So parents fill out the application, no one verifies really anything at that point, especially in that regards. We might do sibling verification, so if somebody claims that they have a child already in the program and they want to get sibling preference, that is verified. But nothing else is verified. A lot of parents have concern about special education. Do I need to submit my grades? None of that is taken into account when families apply. It's totally a blind lottery. Anyone can submit an application no matter what the circumstances, situations are. Now, when you said that anybody can apply, there are some exceptions. For instance, open choice, we only start at kindergarten. So if a pre-K 3, we start at pre-K 4. So if a pre-K 3 family tries to submit an application, it's going to tell them that they can't. There are no pre-K 3 seats for open choice. And then they'll move on to the magnet schools. So those would be the only people that could not apply to open choice. And that's pre-K 3-year-olds.
Okay. And so now I'm really excited. I'm going to go to this fair because I don't want to do anything online. And can I bring the children with me?
You can bring the children with you. You can bring the children.
Wonderful.
Let me put it this way. Yes, children are welcome to attend. We usually have our helium tank there blowing up balloons. That keeps us busy the whole time.
Okay.
So that is fine. Parents know their children because remember, this is a place to come to get information.
Right.
So if you are going to be distracted where you can't focus, you got to be rushed because the children are getting restless,
Sure.
then you will not benefit as much or get as much from the experience
Okay.
as you may like. So I will
Okay.
put it that way. So
Okay.
they are welcome, but you know your children best,
Right.
and then make that call.
Perfect.
Unfortunately, we don't have a playroom for kids
That's
yet.
it. Okay. I can dress up as a clown if you want me
Keep them
there.
entertained. Sometimes there's some fun things there for the kids. They did have at the very first one in November, someone making character balloons.
Oh, that no, I'm not that
No,
talented. No, I can barely blow a balloon.
bad.
Okay, so guess what? We're all done with step one.
Okay.
How's that? All right, so step two is to submit a region school choice application or a RESCO application. And once you've submitted the application, you will the parent will receive a confirmation via email.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's a good point. If a parent submits an application and you do not receive a RESCO email with a copy of your application, that means it was not submitted correctly.
Okay.
Or successfully. And people do that sometimes because it has a preview page. They want you to review it, and we try to put on there in various places, don't forget to submit. But sometimes they might try to print what they're seeing in the
Oh, I
preview
see.
and just get out and forget to hit submit.
submit.
So you need to receive a confirmation email with a copy of your application. Then you know that you're going to be in your child will be in the system.
So hit submit, submit, hit submit,
Right.
hit submit.
Right.
And then wait for the confirmation.
Absolutely.
Even though you hit submit, you won't know that it was
Right.
received until you receive that confirmation.
Absolutely.
So if you are used to ordering Amazon, you know that you get that thank you
Right.
for ordering.
Right.
Right?
And a copy of your
and
order
a copy of your order.
and your payment.
So same mindset,
Absolutely.
right? Just wait for that confirmation to come
Absolutely.
back. Once again, it's email confirmation, so I don't have an email.
So what
What
we
happens?
we encourage families, and when you were talking about the help at the RESCO Fair, also at the Welcome Center, there's someone there between 9 and 4:30 that can sit one-on-one with parents, ask their questions, and walk them through and fill out the application. So for parents that don't have an email,
Okay.
we actually help them to create an email.
Oh, perfect. And this is now part of the service at the
Correct.
fair?
The fair and the Welcome Center, CREC's Welcome Center.
CREC's Welcome
Yes.
Center. So two separate
Yes.
services.
Correct.
So there's the fair for registration or getting information with regards to the open choice, but then the Welcome Center is always there.
Yes.
So
Right,
you can go to the
exactly.
Welcome Center at any point
Exactly.
to get help to set up an email address, and then if you wanted to continue to do it online, you can go back and do it online.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. And I'm assuming that the Welcome Center is there to help because they also have bilingual
Correct.
help, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we're all done with step two. How's that?
That's excellent so far.
Wonderful. So step three. Once you will receive another, suppose you that, well, you know what, let's stick to step two for just a little bit. I chose to go to the fair instead.
Yes.
And if I chose to go to the fair, at that point, is part of the help to create the email address, or is there a paper form also that can be done? And if so,
yeah.
how is that confirmation received?
So there's no paper application.
Okay.
So if parents choose to, there's usually a computer lab of some
Okay.
sort where they're directed in signs that direct them to go and fill out the application. So at that point, they can create an application,
Okay.
and then someone's sitting there helping them fill out the application.
Perfect. So then, absolutely positively, you will receive another email letting you know that either your child's been accepted or not.
Right.
And if accepted, they have to then actually respond that they accept the acceptance
right.
or that they're declining
Right.
the acceptance.
So if I could add some detail for that.
Sure.
So during this time, families are filling out application. I think it's important to note that whether you fill it out on the first day or wait till close to midnight on the last day, February 28th, it's a lottery, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And that's why we tell parents, take your time, explore, don't get anxious. Sending it in December or November has no advantage to the process.
Got it.
So once you send it in, there's a lot of cleanup that happens between February 28th and April. Okay. So people sometimes wonder, well, what's the delay? I haven't heard anything. We're cleaning up things. Parents forgot to put certain information in the application. We're verifying siblings. There's missing information. We're making phone calls. So all of that cleanup. And then the testing of the simulation. You know, siblings are supposed to get preference. Neighborhood kids, it depends on the school what the protocols are. So we do test of the simulation or the placements to make sure that those students are receiving placements in the correct order. All of that's happening between February 28th and April.
So, once again, the deadline is February
28th.
February 28th. But I shouldn't expect to hear anything until sometime in April.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So that's really the main point. Even though the deadline is the 23rd, you won't know anything until April.
Correct.
Okay.
Sometimes, and it might even be the beginning of May. But RESCO will send out a general email to families when they're close to doing the first round of placements.
Beautiful.
And it's normally the end of April or the beginning of May. So parents will not hear anything until then.
Okay.
If they
patience.
Yes. If they missed the February 28th deadline, there will be a period for late applications. But those late applications...
We're not going to be late.
Please
We're going to be on time.
Please don't be late.
February 28th. That's the deadline.
Please, because we have... Please don't be late. And that's what's your show today is helping people to get it done right and on time. That is right.
So now we're going to close up. Step number 4. We're there already. So really, step number 4 is you've received the acceptance. You're good. Now you just have to register your child or children at the school that was chosen, that you were accepted.
Right.
And so they do need to schedule an appointment themselves at the school and physically walk into the school to register, correct?
So it depends. Okay. Yes. For some schools, a lot of districts have the initial online registration piece, but then they still have to come in to bring the hard copy documentation, verification of residency, their medical forms, etc. So I wanted to back up just a little bit. So when they get the acceptance, the families between May and let's say the beginning or middle of August have about 2 weeks to accept the placement.
Okay.
They can accept or deny the placement. If they do nothing, we will, or I should say RESCO will administratively decline them. Okay. So no response is a decline.
Is a decline.
So if a family chooses to accept the placement, then now you have 2 weeks to register at the school.
Got it.
A lot of open choice and magnet schools, a lot of the schools will reach out to the families.
Okay.
In addition to RESCO's notification, somebody's going to reach out to them, congratulate them. Would you like to accept? Let's set an appointment to come in and register. Beautiful. So hopefully there'll be someone that will guide them through. We even send out a welcome letter to those families that do accept with what the next steps are.
The next steps, perfect.
But they need to register by the given deadline. If they don't, they can lose the seat again then. Because there's hundreds of kids on the wait list.
Of course.
And so we want to give, everyone a fair opportunity.
Wonderful. And just to wrap up, I want you to briefly tell me a couple bullets on these 2 headings. Right. What are the largest lottery myth busters? Right? I guess number 1 would be for you.
For us is that the seats are guaranteed. Okay. And so that's another whole little segment that I won't get into. You want to keep it brief. But we don't have seats for every grade, for every school. Okay. They're given to us by the superintendents, and what they give us is what we fill. So even if you're a sibling, seats are not guaranteed. Okay. Second one, open choice. We do not do the lottery. Everything's done through the RESCO office.
And by saying that, you mean you do not pick the applicants. Right?
You could say that too. We don't run anything.
You don't run anything. Okay, so it's not even run in your office. This is done directly by
The State Department of Education.
The State Department
and
of
the Resco
Education.
office. Yes.
All right. So
I work with them, but everything's done with the state.
them. Okay. And then last but not least, what are your top 2 bullets as far as helpful hints?
Helpful hints. So, wow, just 2, huh? So one of the helpful hints, I think, to call the Welcome Center, and we can give the number if you want, and ask questions.
Absolutely.
We'll be willing to review your application with you so that we can tell you what it's telling us, and you can let us know, is that what you wanted to do? Was that your intent? Is that what you wanted to select?
Perfect.
Please have someone review it with you.
Okay.
Second, in regards to the school choices, if someone's applying to 9th grade in particular, try not to apply to grades 6 to 12 schools, because the entry grades are where you're going to have the majority of available seats, and that's pre-K 3, kindergarten, grade 6, and grade 9. But again, call us. We can explain that to you. Can I give the number for the Welcome Center?
Absolutely.
So the CREC's Welcome Center is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. We're there to help you with the application and answer any questions. The telephone number is 860-509-3700. And we'd be more than happy to answer those questions, because there's a lot more. We just can't handle it and cover it all today.
Of course not. Of course not. And all of the phone numbers, whether it's the Welcome Center, whether it's a number that they can contact you, or any of the websites, will all be uploaded onto my website, GyrlSense.com, for further information.
Great.
I thank you very much, and welcome to the
Thank you again for
GyrlSense
having me.
family.
It was a pleasure talking with you.
Great, thanks.
Great, thank you.
I'm Maria Del-Carmen, your host. This grassroots show is taking root. Visit GyrlSense.com for information about our guests. Join us again for more GyrlSense.